Some time ago, a guy called Cabane the Christian here on YouTube called into the Atheist Experience TV show to argue that the accounts of miracles in the Bible proved that miracles had in fact occurred. Now, you're probably thinking that is just wrong, right? But you don't know exactly how to put it into words. That's what I'm here for. Let's imagine a situation where there's a murder that occurs, and a coroner goes over, and everything's already been tagged and bagged. There's shattered glass with blood on it that doesn't belong to the victim, and the victim herself stabbed several times, and a bloody knife next to it with fingerprints on it. There's blood splatters on the floor, and lock of hair stuck in the victim's fingers, just clutching it like that. Coroner shows up, gathers everything up, goes to his office or his home, and starts to write his report. Now, remember that the coroner is trained. He knows how things work together. He understands what makes evidence and what breaks it. So he starts to write his report, and by some amazing show of skill, he gets the murder exactly right. He describes exactly how it happened. He has a database that he analyzes the blood and the fingerprints, and it gives one suspect who's known for committing other murders, for example. This is all hypothetical, of course. But once he's done writing his report, he sees Cabane the Christian on YouTube saying that the Bible is evidence of miracles, and he says, hey, that's a good idea. So he takes all the evidence, the body, the knife, the glass, the hair, the blood splatters. He destroys everything. It's all in his report, right? The report is enough. He goes to court, shows his report. The judge says, where's your evidence? You see the problem here. The report is just a book. Without the physical evidence, even if the report is completely accurate, it's not evidence. It's not proof of anything. He destroyed the evidence necessary to confirm his book, his report. The Bible is exactly like that. It's a report that has little to no evidence for any of its claims. That's a big problem here, because when it starts to claim things like burning bushes that talk or donkeys that talk, people walking on water, the sun stopping in the sky, well, where's your evidence for that? You wrote it down, okay, and we have to remember that the coroner knew what he was talking about. The people who wrote the Bible still thought that the world was flat. So you have a book written by very ignorant people, and somehow that's evidence? It's a big problem for Cabane and other Christians who think like him. Outside confirmation is what is necessary. The coroner's report had it until he destroyed it. The Bible? No such thing as outside confirmation. Places in the Bible may have been real. It mentions Jerusalem, for example, Palestine, other places. Cities that existed or may have existed. But Spider-Man comics mention New York. Does that mean Peter Parker is real? It's a far cry from going to say one place is real in this book, therefore the entire book is true, and a more realistic view, which is to say it's just good storytelling. Think about it. If Peter Parker had been some alien from the planet Zaxxon, would you have related to him as well as you do? That's a big part of his appeal, right? That you can relate to Peter Parker. If the biblical story had happened on the third moon of Jupiter, which they didn't know about back then, I think, would it have been as relatable? Would it have worked as much? So the Bible is a story. Not a particularly interesting one, either. That's just my opinion, of course. That has no basis in evidence. It talks about miracles without ever giving any indication as to them actually happening or not. It was written after the fact by people who already believed in this Messiah, Jesus, and who wrote stories down to make him seem Messiah-like. The miracles aren't necessary to have ever happened as long as people believe they did. Peter Parker is not necessary to exist for people to enjoy the stories of Spider-Man. So is the Bible evidence? No, it's only evidence of literacy back then. So, sorry Cobain, you're just wrong. Remember, just because I wear a mask doesn't mean I am wrong.